At the start of 2024, I did a fun video just showing a bunch of items that I had accumulated and kind of justified why I purchased all these items. And it turns out that I'm just a collector and I just have to embrace this concept that I like to collect RPG books, also miniatures and other things as well. So I'm a consumer. In that video, I made an offhanded comment that maybe I would do additional videos like that throughout the year. And I contemplated this idea because I don't like doing gimmicky things on my channel. I've tried these in the past. They just don't work for me because it's not who I am. And also, I can't commit to something every month. Life gets in the way and things happen. And I don't want to put the pressure of trying to get a video out and doing it half-heartedly. So I kind of decided to change maybe the format of the video, make it a little less edited and a little bit more free-flowing, and it's just going to be like a vlog or just me talking. But it's going to be a video that kind of recaps everything I did the previous month. So it's February, and I figured why not kind of recap everything that took place in January, because I do a lot of other gaming related hobbies things like painting miniatures and playing miniatures games, and I never get to talk about those on this channel because that's not what the channel's about. But I also review other games that maybe don't make it to the channel, or I pick up products that just won't make it to a video, or I just want to follow up on previous videos. Maybe something's changed, or maybe I killed off a game because I just wasn't having fun with it. I don't know. Just figured it'd be a cool little vlog. So let's get into this. Welcome to Solitary RPG. Let's start with a photo I posted on the community page. If you're not aware, every once in a great while, I post a picture on the community page. I am not somebody that does a lot of this, but this was kind of a cool photo. Over the Christmas holidays, I've upgraded my desk a little bit. I added a second monitor, so now you can see me reviewing a document on one monitor, and I have my YouTube channel up on the others because I kind of have two things going on at once. I also got this cool new light from my buddy Jeff, who I stream with on our other YouTube channel, Facebook channel called What's New with Mike and Jeff. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. It's just two old guys talking about hobby stuff, mainly miniatures, primarily miniatures. I'll just say almost always miniatures. Talking about the hobby, talking about life. My buddy Jeff's very accomplished hobbyist. Worked for Games Workshop, worked for Battlefront. He wrote for Black Library. Just a really great guy. His pedigree goes on, but he bought me this great little desk light from Game Envy. He felt that this would really help me with my miniature painting. It's a great light, and I just love it. Plus, you can see a little bit behind the scenes. This is where I record my videos. You can see on the right-hand side and in the back, there's all kinds of GW Legions Imperialis models, because we're going to do a big streaming event in February, President's Day weekend, where we take a big project and we just focus on it for the whole weekend and just paint and paint and paint for a whole weekend and see how far we can get with that project. It's just something we do every once in a great while. But yeah, so that's just a little thing that I posted up on the community page, just kind of showing my desk and where things are at behind the scenes, because I'm always trying to improve the quality of my videos, and this was one of those things that help. I really love this light. I did make some purchases, not a lot in January. I was very proud of myself. I kind of controlled my impulse buying, but I did buy a couple things. So this is a very odd looking book on the cover, on the top, so we'll look at that last. But I did pick up Basic Role Playing, the Universal Game Engine. This is by Chaosium. Hear a lot about this game. It's a D100 system using a lot of skills, basically Call of Cthulhu, but this is all stripped down for basic role playing. Just thought it'd be a cool book. I do like the quality of the pages. It's not glossy. It's all kind of a matte finish paper, like feels like actual thick paper. And it just looks like a really cool book. I'm familiar with Call of Cthulhu. I play the solo scenarios every once in a while. They've got a few supplements you can buy just for solo play, which I think is really cool. Plus, there's I don't know if it's fan made or from Chaosium. I don't off the top of my head, but a whole solo playing supplement that you can use just for Call of Cthulhu. But yeah, so I picked this up. It was just something I wanted to add to my collection. Great for reference also for basic role playing. This book might look a little familiar. This book was put out by Tim Hutchins, and he's the author of Thousand Year Old Vampire, Apollo 47. I get emails from him, promoting different things that he's working on and places that he's going to be. And this was in his email, and all this is an art book, kind of paying respects or paying homage to the Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook. And what he did is he went through and basically mimicked all of the different texts, like these are all the different paragraphs on this particular page, and looks like he might have used an alcohol marker or some kind of watercolor type marker. And it's just kind of just something he did. He's a creative person, something he worked on. In the email, he was selling some copies that he did not like. So this was one of the, I guess, I don't want to say a misprint. It just didn't meet his requirements, like his quality control. And after looking at it, like back here, you can see like the glue, when they glued down the end pages, it's all wrinkled. And that happens either from bad pressing, like they didn't press it hard enough, or there was too much glue and it got wet and they weren't able to get the moisture out. The glue didn't really hold on. Also, the book has kind of a warped front. And this could be two things. This could be they didn't make the spine of the cover wide enough so that it could fit down flat, so it's actually pulling on it. Or when they glued on the artwork, they didn't make sure the grain was running in the right direction and the cover's kind of cupped. And if you bought like the good quality copy, Tim was going to sign it and I think do like a piece of artwork. And I didn't want to do that. I figured I would buy one of his, I guess, defective copies because I'm going to make this a junk journal. And if you're not familiar with what a junk journal is, it's kind of what Thousand Year Old Vampire is. It's kind of just a hybrid between a scrapbook and also a journal. And what I'm going to capture in the pages of mine are just some of my solo gaming concepts, ideas, things that I work on for solo gaming that are just how I like to do my game. I'm going to kind of make my own solo game master's guide, and I'm literally just going to write right across the pages and just kind of get creative with it myself. So I'm going to take Tim's creative project and I'm going to add to it and make it my own creative project. And that's why I'm okay with the not perfect copy of it, because I'm just going to ruin it anyways. And if it just goes terribly sideways, well then I think it cost me $20 for this, so it'll just be a lesson learned. But I thought it was kind of cool, and I support his work. Like I like a lot of the stuff that he does, so I didn't mind picking this up. I just got to find a pen that I can write on these pages that will be dark enough to kind of show up on these gray spots. And I just can't use a Sharpie, because a Sharpie, like a fine tip Sharpie, which would be perfect, would probably bleed through this paper. So I don't want that. So I just got to find a really good quality ballpoint pen or gel pen or something like that. But yeah, just a little something I picked up. Dragon Bane. So yes, this book has finally been released from Free League. One of the criticisms about this game when it was released as the box set is there weren't a lot of monsters. Well, here's the answer to that. Tons of monsters. A lot of channels are reviewing this right now. It just came out along with a hard copy version of the rules, plus more tokens to add to your game. I just got the bestiary, and I'm kind of regretting I didn't pick up everything, but it's all going to hit the retail market soon, so I'll just pick it up from my local friendly game store. I don't think I really need to say a whole lot. The art is amazing, the quality is amazing, this book is just gorgeous. If I was to give this any kind of criticism as a product based on the quality of the inside, like all the pages are full color with this parchment and the art is amazing. And then they did a glossy front cover. I kind of wish they would have went with how they do the Vason covers, or they did do the One Ring covers with that matte cloth finish and make this feel more like a tome or something kind of ancient. Just something that fit the theme of the game a little bit better. But they went with the typical glossy cover. I know they did a limited edition copy. I think it was some sort of leather copy, but I'm thinking for just the mass market, I wish this was on par with the Vason books or the One Ring books just to make it stand out. But the inside, the interior art does stand out. Like, it is amazing inside. Lots of great art to look at, and this is why I want to get the little standees to go along with it, because you get all the creatures, and it's just fun. Good stuff. Dragon Bane is an awesome game. I am going to get it back on the channel one day, just when, I don't know. Got some other things planned for 2024. So, but I will still continue to collect all of the books. Speaking of Free League, I got a core rule book for Symborum or Symbaroum, however you want to pronounce it. But I already own the core rule book, so why in the hell did I buy another core rule book? I am a Patreon member for Victory Condition Gaming, and they have a book club tier where you get autographed books from authors. And this was the December book. It showed up in January, signed by the author. So, and there's the signature. So this is just a really cool way of rewarding the Patreon members. It's the book club level is at $10 a month. So technically you get 2 books a year. So I spent, this was $60, but I don't care. What Doug does on Victory Condition Gaming is amazing. He does great playthroughs. He does great interviews with a lot of the authors from other companies. Not just your typical D&D crap, but really getting into the authors from Free League and Morkborg. And I got the signed copy of Pirate Borg. Again, I just add these to my collection. The first book in January that's going to be coming out is Vast Grim, which is awesome. I already own the copy of it, but I will get an autographed copy. This is going to lead to, I'm going to have some duplicates in my collection, which is fine. But yeah, this is just one of those things I got in the mail, and I love it. As a YouTube channel, every once in a while, a publisher will reach out and ask me to review their product and maybe do a video on their product. The Palace of the Walls that Scream was sent to me from the publisher. This is an Italian publisher, and I am falling in love with games from Italy. The quality of the publications and the art and everything about their games are just really sucking me in, and this game is no exception. This is actively on Kickstarter for a new supplement, but also you can get PDFs of the existing supplements through that Kickstarter. It was sent to me to review and look at, and let's face it, the art is just awesome. The whole way the author create the PDF, he makes it look like this is like stamp art or something off an old school printing press where they actually have to set it up, and it's got all kinds of little flaws to the print job, which are intentional, which can cause some problems when reading it, but that's what makes it cool, because it's part of the immersion into the world. You are going back in time, and this is how maybe documents were done like back then. Like, if you look at the C's for the letters, they're a little close together, but sometimes that's how printing was done back then. So it was all done intentionally, and I love it. The art looks like stamps, like press stamps that they would have used back in the day. awesome looking map. I did suggest maybe making this map a full-size page so that we can actually get a better view of the map. And again, that's up to him to take that feedback. But yeah, just some little translation errors, mainly using a translation service. Some things just didn't translate correctly, especially when it came to gaming terms, because games in Italy are different than games in America, and they use different terminology, and some of that got put into this document. So just gave him some feedback. Love it. As far as bringing this to the channel, don't think this is something I could bring to the channel. First of all, this is a 5e module, one-shot module. I don't play 5e. However, I am starting to explore more 5e stuff because I feel I can use Shadow Dark to play some of these 5e supplements, and that's probably what I'm going to do with this. But the concept behind this game is really meant for a group of players, being sent to a palace, and all kinds of really twisted stuff happens. So it is really meant for a group of people. It is a fear horror style game. I do feel though I can pull part of the story out and make a little solo scenario about it. And I'm still toying around with that concept, but I don't think it would be appropriate for the channel because it's going to deal with some very dark, mature subject matter that YouTube might not find appropriate. I think most of my viewers would be okay with it, but YouTube might not be okay with it. So I'm not going to go down that road with YouTube, but I do love it. The author is working on a new supplement, and I believe we'll be updating some of the other supplements, and I did back it on Kickstarter because if a publisher is going to send me something, and it is something I believe in, small publishers have a hard time surviving in this crazy market. And if it's something I do believe in, I am going to back it on Kickstarter because I want the publisher to have those funds so they can keep creating stuff. And that is what I did here, and I do that with all my Kickstarters. If I'm going to review their product, and if they're going to send me their product and ask me to review it, and if it's something I believe in, I will back it. If it's something I don't believe in, I won't back it. Now, it doesn't mean flood me with emails like wanting me to review your product, because I can't afford to back everybody's Kickstarters, but small products like this, I jump on them. Speaking of Kickstarters, I want to share my next thing with you. The Pocket Chronicles. Now, this is a product from Shield Dice Studios. I've gushed over Shield Dice Studios before on the channel. Jay creates some amazing stuff. I did a deep look at Loom, Portents of the Veil, plus the lore book for Loom, and talked about how much I really liked Jay's world creation. Well, he launched a Kickstarter called Pocket Chronicles, and what these are going to be are little pocket books that you can take with you on the go, and you can do world creating. And it's broken down, and there's 5 different books. The section that really sucked me in was the part on topographical maps. Now, this is something we don't see a lot in RPGs, where you're seeing the world from a different perspective, and I just love this map. I can just visualize, my characters. This is all like flat land, and it's surrounded by mountains. I can make this desert. I could make this foresty and just say this is all forest land, and these are the mountains. Just gives you a better visual, and you got space to write on this. It also gets into real traditional topographical maps, so you can create elevation on your maps, because a lot of times when we create maps for hex crawls and things like that, they're just flat. We put like here's some woods, here's a lake, here's a this, here's a that, and we don't see any height elevations or anything like that. Well, with these topographical maps, you could actually overlay these prints on top of a hex map, which I already did here. I took the hex map page, printed it out, then I took the topographical page and printed it out. That's why you got the 2 different page numbers on this. But now you have a hex crawl that has elevation to it. So just really neat concepts. And this whole project that Jay's working on just really dives into all kinds of different world creating concepts. We will be doing a deeper dive on this once the Kickstarter fulfills, which I believe is happening soon. And we will break down each of the books. I backed it for the physical prints. This was the PDFs that I printed out and put into a 3-ring binder, because I can then add and subtract pages. I can do whatever I want with it. It gives me more freedom than something that's bound together. And you know me, in bookbinding, I really like bookbinding, but sometimes a 3-ring binder is the correct way to bind something. So if you did print this out on larger pages so that you could use this as maybe a place to capture all your information from your little notebooks, because you're writing on the go with those. That's the concept of it. You can bring it and you can use this as like a master log for keeping all that information. But yeah, we will be looking at this further when I get the physical products, but I did print everything out, put it in a 3-ring binder. I've been messing around with it. One of the other really cool things Jay did is he took the covers, all the covers, and gave you a full image of the cover that you can use for whatever. I just love it, and I just made it the cover of my notebook. And because I'm going to be doing a lot of writing in that notebook, and I just write a lot in general, I bought a really cool mechanical pencil set. So I write a lot, and I prefer pencil over pen. And I picked up this mechanical pencil set on Amazon with the intention of using it in the Pocket Chronicles. And this comes with 3 different number 2 size lead pencils. It also comes with a 5, a 7, and a 9. 2 different types of hardness of leads for all of the pencils, and also colored ones. Got these really, really cool pencil sharpeners specifically for mechanical pencils for the number 2s. So you get these little cool pencil sharpeners, erasers for the pencils. Picked it up on Amazon. It was like $35, but it's just a nice way of keeping all of my mechanical pencils in one place. I normally use the zebra pencils, but I'm going to give this a try. If I'm not happy with some of the pencils, I might replace them with my zebra pencils. But it gave me a case, gave me something to hold everything in. And speaking of purchases from Amazon, you might be wondering why I bought a Walkman. Well, if you watched that last video, you know I received a Kickstarter for 12 years, and it had a cassette. And I was like, huh, that's cool. I don't have a cassette player. So I actually got to listen to the tape. It was very cool. Very good music to have on while I was painting and just kind of chilling. No lyrics, just instrumental stuff. I need to reach out to the author and find out if that is something I can play on my channel while I'm playing games, just lightly in the background, just to have some ambiance to my videos. My videos are very plain with just me talking. But the one I bought, though, I wanted to make sure it had recording capabilities, and I bought some old cassette tapes. Well, they're not old, they're new, but I got some cassette tapes. And I think I might bring Wretched and Alone on the channel and do some video recording. And I want it to sound very cassette tapey recorded quality. Don't want it to be my smooth voice that you hear on the channel. I want it to be a little distorted. So I did that. Plus, if I just want to record myself, just want to have a conversation with myself, because one of the things I'm going to be working on this year is GM prep. And one of the things I want to maybe do is just kind of record myself walking through some of my GM prep, so I'm not having to stop and write. I can just record it. I don't know. I just thought it would be something to give it a try and see if it works. So that's why I picked this up. But I definitely will be using it as a prop for my Dark Places and Demigorgons game. And I don't know, just fun stuff. Speaking of habits and trying to create a GM prep habit, my wife and I took a trip to Florida. On the plane, I read Atomic Habits. This is one of those books, beginning of the year, a lot of YouTubers and self-help channels and things like that talk about how to create better habits. This book always gets brought up as one of the best books to read, and I've always kind of turned away from it. Like, I come from a different generation, and I believe, 7 habits of highly effective people, and that's what kind of developed my habit understanding and things like that. But since we were flying on a plane and I was going to be on a plane for 4 hours, I figured I'd take a book that I could read, that if I get distracted, I'm not going to be too terribly concerned. And that's why I picked this book. A lot of really basic information, things like that, but there were some really cool concepts in this book that were new to me that I was thankful that I read it. And I'm actually going to add this into my library of books that I will read. I have a small library of books that I reread books every year. I don't buy more books. I try to reread my self-help books so the concepts and understandings in those books gets like cemented into my brain as my DNA. And this will become one of them, maybe something I'll read at the beginning of the year to review my current habits and start new habits. But this has kind of opened myself up with like that tape recorder that I purchased. I like to take walks every day, get outside, clear my head, and just take walks. And I think and I talk to myself. Yes, I'm the crazy guy that talks to himself on walks. And maybe I'll use that as my jam prep. So in this book, they talk about stacking habits. So like when you do this habit, you should either afterwards do this habit or add this habit to it. So creating the habit of walking might be when I create my habit of GM prep, and talking about GM prep and getting ready for a game and making sure I understand the rules and just stuff like that. But this was a great book. I think there's a lot of information that people can take from this book and add to their gaming hobbies, because let's face it, gaming is a habit unto itself. And this might be something that you could use to help improve your gaming habits. So, really cool. Speaking of my trip to Florida, we went to Universal Florida and we hung out at Harry Potter Land. Like, Diagon Alley is just amazing if you've never seen it in person. Regardless of what you think of Harry Potter, personally, I think Harry Potter is probably a darker, grittier world than Dungeons and Dragons, to be honest with you. If you watched the whole series, they get into some real mature adult subjects towards the end. The beginning's a little childish, but as he grows up and they all grow up, they start diving into some more mature adult subjects. But I really like it. I just think the whole thing is a great immersion into the world. And it's just the architecture, everything they did. It's just gorgeous. And when you walk in, you see this dragon sitting on top of the bank. It actually breathes fire. It's phenomenal. The whole train taking you from one park to the other, it's just awesome. It's just a great time. We used to go on a more regular basis. This is where my wife loved to spend her birthday. But COVID destroyed all that. And after COVID, the cost of flights were just stupid. So we saved for a year, putting aside money, and this was our Christmas present. So we hung out at Harry Potter Land for like 3 days and just had a blast. Ate too much, drank too much, and just had a great time. However, when I was there, I picked up some journals. Yes, I journal a lot. And I got these 2 journals. This one's pretty straightforward. This is just a generic Harry Potter cover. It's a flat cover with some tape for the spine. It says Hogwarts alumni on the side. Silver leafing, which might be an indicator of something I might be playing on the channel here pretty soon. Something about Outcast Silver Raiders. Stay tuned for that. I'm not going to use this journal for that. Look at these pages. Like just old text pages. It's just awesome with 2 ribbons. It's just a great book. It wasn't terribly expensive. I think it was $25. And again, yeah, it was $25. I collect journals. I know it's weird, but when I go on vacation to places, I will pick up journals. Even though I may not write in them, I eventually end up writing in them. But there are some I just keep in my collection. This one I'll probably write in. This one I will not. This is the Dark Mark, and it's a silver leaf. It is a soft leather bound book that nothing fancy about the pages other than the little spell thing, and If you go to Harry Potter Land, if you've been to Universal Florida, don't know if it exists in Universal California, haven't been there. There are certain spots throughout the area that you can stop. If you buy an interactive wand, you can do a little wand magic, and the window you're at or the space you are at will actually respond to it. There's cameras set up, and they're mechanical, and it's just really cool. That's part of that immersion and getting you to buy special wands that are kind of expensive, but I don't care. My wife and I saved up for that trip, and we had a blast. So anyways, I also bought this little journal, and it's just really cool. Just enjoyed it a lot. So that was just a little recap of everything that took place in January 24. As you know, I also got hurt in January. I am on the mend. I go back in February 21st to get this looked at. Hopefully they will free me from this and I can get back to doing my job and getting back into the gym and playing my bass guitar. It's really hard to play my bass right now because I have to twist my wrist, and that bone that I broke really hurts. But it is getting better, and I've been trying to get back into playing my guitar. Just hard. So anyways, until next month, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.